Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you today. Crypto CEO says legislation is coming this year in the U.S. We're going to talk about it, and you're going to hear from them. And XRP, the chosen one. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, it is a $1.32 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is off by 0.3%. Good morning, everybody. Bitcoin right now, 30,300 plus, up 8.4% on the 7-day and off by 0.5% on the 24-hour. Look at this. Ethereum over $2,000 here, up 12.9% on the 7-day, but off by 0.9% this morning. Tether market cap, 80.9 billion plus. Yeah, we're watching it. 51 cents for XRP. It's off by 1.1% on the 24-hour and 2.7 up on the 7-day. If you're not aware of it, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Linqto is running a special right now where they put Linqto bucks in your account if you want to get Linqto itself, PolySign, Ripple. Look at all this incredible stuff. Ledger, Samba Nova is artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. Chainalysis is already gone for the moment. Look, keep an eye out. It might be back just like many of these others. But what you're not sure of is when is the last time going to be. Look at this. Uphold top seller right here. Look, unstoppable domains. It's all right there, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you check it out and find out if you're accredited. One more thing else I wanted to tell you about is we're going to be fortunate enough to have Linqto and Flare Naming Services, along with all the other incredible companies, Uphold as well, on stage for XRP Las Vegas, which is sold out. And Flare Naming Services is a decentralized way to build identities online with the Flare network. .flare domains for your wallet and website. Click this button and get early access reservation where you will be allowed to go in and get the hottest domains before anyone else. I've already done it. Click the link to my sponsor there and see if it's right for you too. James K. Filan shared this here, and I just wanted to touch on this because we talked about it, but I just wanted to highlight this again as we get started here because there's so much melees here in the U.S. trying to get clarity for crypto assets and other broad issues here too. But nevertheless, Stuart Alderati, when it comes to the SEC versus Ripple case, reminds everybody a couple days ago here that the SEC lost 5 out of its last 6 cases in the Supreme Court. Now that seems like to me a nice little reminder to the SEC. You sure you don't want to settle? Are you sure you don't want to settle? Because there was a most recent loss by the SEC in the Supreme Court again, right? So we'll keep watching it. We should have a ruling any day, literally any day, and I couldn't be more excited to get that ruling. Here we see a highlight here from Paul Grewal, which is the chief legal officer for Coinbase. It says that just in 60-something words, SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce has managed to articulate all that hits awfully close to home here. Today's commission, these are Hester Peirce's words from the SEC, today's commission tells entrepreneurs trying to do new things in our markets to come in and register. When entrepreneurs find they cannot, the commission dismisses the possibility of making practical adjustments to our registration framework to help entrepreneurs register and instead rewards their good faith with an enforcement action. Today's commission treats the notice and comment rulemaking process not as a conversation, but as a threat. John Deaton says 100% agreed, Hester Peirce. Every member of Congress should receive a copy of Commissioner Peirce's recent dissent. Her words are the words of a sitting commissioner, not a critic like me or a business entrepreneur like Coinbase. Powerful. And it really, really is. And you're going to hear from a CEO, Danelle Dixon, in a second, and she is very optimistic that we're about to see some legislation over the next 6 or 7 months here. But remember this, in July this year, in just another 3 months, Fed Reserve will launch the most significant financial innovation in its history. FedNow, this 24/7 instant payment infrastructure, has all the hallmarks of a CBDC precursor. However, is the tokenized dollar even needed? Now remember, Ripple is a partner, working partner, collaborator with the FedNow system. And it doesn't mean that they'll use XRP, right? But you know what? That's the goal. If they need to, now for domestic liquidity, it may not be as necessary. But who knows? You may find there may be a use case that sneaks in there somewhere. But even if it doesn't, what I believe is happening with FedNow is a couple things. One, I believe it is the government sector looking to get itself in place before the private sector gets any real clarity. That's number one. And number two, I believe it's about organizing the domestic liquidity with this new financial innovation so they can draw on it for large cross-border payments. And I do speculate that XRP will play a part in that role. Or why would Ripple even help? Here's Danelle Dixon right here. I'm sure there's others that would disagree, but I'm sure, I can't even today. We're going to get past it. Here's Danelle Dixon, and you need to hear this, as she's very optimistic that we're going to get something on stablecoins by the end of the year. And the reason why is because we don't have a choice. If we want to have a voice in this, we have to get it done this year. Take a listen to this quick clip here.
U.S. government.
We're here in Washington. I'm assuming you're having conversations around this. How optimistic are you on the regulatory front here in the U.S.?
So I feel like we need to get something done here in the U.S. in order for us to really set the standard, if we want to set the standard, which I think the U.S. government is going to want to do that. Yeah. So I'm very optimistic that we're going to get something on stablecoins by the end of the year. And the reason why is because we don't have a choice. If we want to have a voice in this, we need to get it done this year.
When you say the U.S. government, who are you referring to? Is this a congressional question? Is this the SEC CFTC question? Is it the Biden administration and directives coming from the White House? I mean, who realistically is in charge?
Well, we've actually already seen the Biden administration indicate, at least on stablecoins, that we need to see something happen there. So I feel like that's already been a directive from the White House and the administration. And then we do need to see in Congress, we need to see them take that and run with it and create something for us. So they're in charge of the legislation with respect to stablecoins, in my opinion. And we need to see it because once we see stablecoin legislation, we're going to see adoption of more, by digital assets, of more companies that are in the Web 2 space, which is essentially what I think we want. If we want a strong U.S. dollar, and we want a strong U.S. dollar globally, U.S. dollar stablecoin is a way to see that happen.
You are, Danelle, at stellar behind the development and growth of this technology in this industry. Does it have to be in the U.S.? Or why are you so U.S.-centric, seeing as other countries are so much friendlier to the crypto industry than the U.S. seems to be?
Well, I love the fact that other countries have actually taken a lead on this, but I don't want us in the U.S. to be forgotten because I think it's a really important place where we have a lot of innovators and a lot of developers who are already really focused on this tech stack, and we want to see them be able to get their technology out and make it more utility-focused and usable. So I just don't want us to stay so far behind in the U.S. that we lose sight of what the value is, which is actually really getting these technologies to the U.S. consumers as well. And to be honest, if we don't do something in the U.S., we're going to be in this bifurcated world where we have legislation outside the U.S. that's more friendly to crypto. We're going to have companies being outside the U.S., and we're still going to have the issue where U.S. consumers are going to want to leverage this technology. So what are we going to do in that scenario? So I'm optimistic only because I don't think we have a choice.
What a great point she's making, but I want to take you to this next part. Watch this.
We also have folks that are using this for cross-border. We see a lot of it happening where in Colombia, they're preferring the USDC, the dollar in Colombia, and they're leveraging that to count against inflation there. So these are things that we're seeing happen. And what we need to do is have operators come to DC and be able to tell their story of what they're developing. Stop talking about the technology, start demonstrating the utility. This is what we've been doing for a long time, but honestly, it hasn't been that sexy when all the trading use cases and all that were going on. But now let's focus on the real utility. That's how we win this.
And what a great point that is. Let's get, that is a fancy CEO way of saying, elegant way of saying, let's get past the speculation of trading these things and start talking about the products that actually solve a problem. That's what I'm hearing. And boy, do I like that one. Danelle Dixon put it right there. And it seems to be very fitting, ladies and gentlemen, because U.S. Congress to introduce a new draft bill for stablecoins for the, excuse me, one second. Let me try this again. U.S. Congress to introduce new draft bill for stablecoins. Failure to register as a stablecoin issuer could result in up to 5 years in prison and a fine of $1 million. Issuers out of the U.S. would have to seek registration to operate in the country, and listen to who they say would oversee these non-banks, ladies and gentlemen. The draft puts the Federal Reserve in charge of the non-bank stablecoin issuers, such as crypto firms like Tether and Circle. This gets interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you bring them into the fold. And we know the USDC has been waiting for a moment like this. And look who ends up joining the U.S. Congressional Committee. Yeah, you can't make it up. We've been watching this for a long time. Circle executive is joining the U.S. Congressional Committee hearing on stablecoin payments and legislation. You know, look, I'm excited about this because we know that PolySign is geared and set up and compliant for the regulatory framework to custody digital assets. No doubt about it. So there's that foundational layer of custody. Then we know Circle is set up to serve inside a regulated framework to issue a digital dollar, right? At least on the retail facing side. We know if U.S. Congress gets legislation done for stablecoins payments and things of that nature, then what are you talking about here? You're talking about two very key components: custody being in place, stablecoin legislation being in place, and then they work out in the back end what the rest of these things do. And believe me, SEC is going to continue to play whack-a-mole until we get there. But there was a key point that Danelle Dixon talked about, and it's talking about use case and getting beyond the speculation of the assets in this market, but getting the use case. And that reminded me of this little clip I saw here from ISO GOAT. Take a listen to this very quickly here.
So Mojo Loop is core ledger technology. They are designed to run as the banking infrastructure in a country, in a whole
country. Mojo Loop is designed to run as a banking infrastructure in a whole country.
And they are deployed across several African nations. They're working their way through Asia right now. And we've worked with them to put Rafiki inside of a Mojo Loop hub, inside of the Mojo Loop software, so that an entire country can get connected to the Interledger with the push of a single button.
So the entire country can get connected to Interledger with the push of a single button. Well, I'm reminding you, if you're not aware, that Mojo Loop is a partner with Ripple and have been, right? More financial inclusive future. And then that brings us to this, because now what am I doing? I'm talking about use case. I'm not talking about speculation here. Danelle Dixon's right. This moment we're in is really where the conversation needs to change and say, let's stop talking about speculation and trading these things. Let's start talking about the value protocols and the networks that actually solve a pain point for an industry or people itself, right? And that's what we're talking about here. This is Stephen Witt, co-founder of Zange.com, and he's going to tell you exactly what's going on here.
So especially what we are doing now with the Interwork Alliance, and that we are basically like building a solution according to the standards set by Interwork, and that we collaborate with each other to set standards and have blockchain technology as like an audit accounting tool. That's the most, blockchain has the most added value as an accounting tool, basically, for us as well. It provides transparency in the market, and that's why we're utilizing that technology in our solutions as well, because it brings transparency to the market, basically.
Ironically, and certainly in some circles, has a huge degree of mistrust as a technology. I mean, I'm still so surprised. Again, COP26, the only mention of blockchain as a innovative solution in sustainability was as the worst for the environment and the least clean. What are your thoughts on that?
Because of Bitcoin. Yeah.
Why were you surprised?
Bitcoin.
That's why we chosen to build this on the XRP Ledger instead. So we looked at the right way to issue and implement the token taxonomy framework on a carbon neutral blockchain.
And there you have it. Talk about use case, ladies and gentlemen. That's where the conversation's changing here in the U.S., and I can feel it. And I don't know if you are, but I certainly do. And when it comes to value protocols that have use case, obviously the XRP Ledger has massive use case and has had use case successfully, solving problems for remittance companies around the world just to prove it to the regulators and the governments. It is in place to serve the world's needs going forward in a carbon neutral way. It's amazing where we're positioned right now. And I know it's very scary waiting for a ruling on the case, but I find it very hard to believe that the judge is going to come out and say that the XRP token and secondary market sales are securities. If that's the case, then the oranges in the Howey test are securities. How can it not be, right? So this is getting very interesting. And I'm not saying that Ripple won't still have a journey ahead of them, because the ruling could be split in a manner such as that, but we'll see. And I hope not. I hope there's clarity from jump for everyone involved. But let's take a look at what may happen once we get a ruling in the case, some positive news, and maybe even clarity for XRP going forward. First, we start with Eggrad Crypto. It says the flipping zone. We're looking at this red area right here. And if I could just click on this very quickly here. The demand and supply zone explicitly shows why XRP pump is facing strong resistance around 58 cents. That's a key point. Also, the final wake-up line is playing a major resistance so far. However, once XRP flips to supply zone, right in here, where we touched what we're below now, right? But if we get up above that and flip it to support, where we're bouncing off the top of this instead of hitting our head on it and falling back, we get above that, it's saying that it'll be a clear signal for a major pump. A clear signal, not a guarantee. Revisiting the whitish box here, down in this strong zone, within the realm of possibility, better not to do so. It says XRP Army, stay steady. XRP will melt faces. And that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. Dark Defenders come out here and told us to watch out. Hi there all. Based on our precious wave trend, we discussed wave 3 lately. After the green indicator, we had the following. 720 times in 2017, 62 times in 21, and with a shake first. And it says, and then who knows what it will be basically in 2023. He says he trusts Ripple. I trust math. I see where XRP is headed to. Cheers. You take a look at what he's talking about, the 720 times here in 2017 from 0.00525 all the way up to 382. And then here we saw 10 times here to 196 from 17 cents. I remember watching all of these, and I held through it all. And I tell you, I will be taking some profits for myself. That's not financial advice. But if we go to where we're sitting at right now at 30, he's looking at 33 cents as the bottom where we spent so much time at. But if we look down here at the bottom below, what he's showing you is these points that suggest there could be an indicator that suggests a huge breakout like what we've witnessed in the history of XRP in past. So if we look at this and see those moments, that this could potentially end up being one of those as well. We don't know for sure, but we know that we have some fundamental news we're waiting on that could certainly send this thing off. Just how far? We don't know, but it'll be exciting to watch once it finally does, hopefully, right? Not financial advice from me or anyone else, just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.